we should talk about the end of the transfer window. I know that that's kind of moved on a little bit because of the Cardiff game, because of Coventry, and because it looks as though they absolutely do not need any new players. But deadline day came and went on Monday, and Leeds didn't do anything in the end. I think the view on that is a lot rosier given the last two results. There will be some people who are still maybe discontented by the fact that no reinforcements have been brought in, and this is a topic which will rear its head again if there is a serious injury to one of the key players who's performing right now. But I think on the whole, it could prove to be a good decision if Leeds get that luck and things continue to go their way, because the only deal that really seemed as though it was in the offing was a potential loan move with an obligation to buy for Cameron Archer. Now, that obligation will have been too high, I think.
Yeah.
So you've immediately, 6 months before you've got to the Premier League, let's say hypothetically, you've committed a large chunk of money for a player who might not be Premier League standard. So I think there's two schools of thought that, insurance would have been great in the form of a player who absolutely gets you over the line and gets you over the line by several points, as we've said before on this podcast. There is also the school of thought that is, right, you know what, we've got that extra 15, 20 million. I mean, it won't have been 15 million, the obligation. I can say that pretty confidently. We've got that extra 20 million in the bank to spend in the summer.
I definitely agree on Archer, because I don't think he's a player Leeds United would want with them in the Prem. I think they were looking at him as a player for literally just the here and now, and literally just to give them something a little bit different, because Patrick Bamford's fitness is a problem, and because Mateo Joseph's goal scoring has been a problem, and because something might happen to Joel Piroe, just to have another option. It was what Brian Deane said in that piece I did with him not long ago, having different kinds of strikers that you can bring on so that the opposition, so things don't get predictable in the way he felt they got towards the end of last season. So the Archer thing, taking that on its own, I don't think anyone can be massively upset that it didn't happen. Because if it saddled Leeds with a £20 million obligation in the summer for a player that, unless he starts scoring goals in the Premier League, which he's been struggling to do, admittedly in two terrible teams, you're not getting that money back. That's, you've basically just booked yourself a loss, haven't you? I don't think Southampton would ever have been minded to help Leeds United out in this scenario. Why would they? So they were never going to just let it be a straight loan. So yeah, the Archer thing not happening, I don't think is a massive crime. I think, though, that the idea of not signing anyone is just going to be a little bit like a dormant volcano. There'll be rumblings, there might be a bit of smoke, and maybe at some point there'll be a bit of an explosion about it. And that's when you know that things have gone wrong for Leeds United. But it might be that you get to live for the next few months.